This week on Down the Right Field Line, we're going to talk about what the Fish have done so far at the winter meetings, and also we're going to talk about what is to come in the future. So stay tuned. Down the Right Field Line now. Hey guys, let's get right to it. Heath Bell, in case you haven't noticed, is the Marlins' new closer for the 2012 season. The contract was for 3 years, $27 million. Robert, we have a closer. We have a closer. What's your take on that one?
This is so exciting. We're no longer going to have to worry about the Leo coaster and all the cardiac close games that he used to pitch. I'm so excited we have a dependable closer that we're going to be able to bring in whenever JJ starts. He's not going to have however many, he had 5 long saves last year. It's good that starting pitchers will now be able to exit the game and know that their win is in safe hands with Bell, and hopefully our bullpen will be able to shape up as well.
Definitely. And one thing that, you know, there's always good and bad with these free agent signings, and although Bell has been superb in San Diego, aren't you a little worried that he's 34 years old? And granted, it's just a 3-year contract, but wouldn't that have an effect down here in South Florida?
Well, I was a little bit worried with Bell, but at the same time, you see all kinds of closers pitching late into their 30s and even early 40s, and Bell has been so consistent. He has, I think I saw somewhere that he has the most saves in the last 3 years or something like that. Maybe that's just in the National League, but that's a pretty impressive resume, and somebody that consistent. Although we were talking about the fact that his strikeouts went down, he's still been a very consistent pitcher, and in that 9th inning, when you have somebody that consistent, you know, maybe your strikeouts might vary, your ERA, but the biggest thing is the saves. And I think last year only had 2 or 3 blown saves.
Right.
So, to be honest with you, I was a little bit, I was surprised that, you know, teams like the Phillies didn't go after him. He has the most saves. He has more saves than Papelbon. Papelbon got more money.
Definitely. And you also have to factor in the intimidation. As a closer, you have to have that look. And I'm sorry, but Leo Nunez, a.k.a. Juan Carlos Oviedo, whatever the hell your name is, he's not intimidating. He's a string bean. Like, you need a closer who can shut the door down and get the job done and is confident with it. And I think Heath Bell exudes confidence on the mound. And, you know, hopefully he'll save 40 plus for us in 2012, and we'll see a lot more of his kookiness in the bullpen.
Right. I mean, if you guys ever watch MLB Network, I mean, this guy just does all kinds of funny things. And one thing we're going to have to get used to, part of that intimidation factor is when he goes down to get the pitch, his arm hangs like this and he goes back and forth. And obviously in the All-Star game last year, he ran as hard as he could. The camera guy couldn't even keep up with him. This guy weighs over 250 pounds.
That's the other thing, the weight in Miami, but I'm sure he'll be fine. We're playing in the AC this year, so that'll be all good. And
I am so excited to have a closer. Definitely.
And that announcement actually came on Monday, first day of the winter meetings. And also, late Sunday night, we heard that Jose Reyes agreed to a 6-year, $102 million contract with a $4 million buyout. Can you believe? I mean, we thought, okay, well, that's always a possibility. You know, it could happen. But we'll see what happens. It happened. It happened.
Yeah.
They've agreed. We're just waiting on the physical, but it's alive. The actual concept of Jose Reyes playing shortstop for the Miami Marlins is alive and well. And whatever happens to Hanley, it looks like third base. But what are your what? I mean, we talked last night. What was going through your mind when you heard this?
I've been just like you. I've been checking, MLB trade rumors nonstop, and it's funny because when you called me yesterday, I had just pressed refresh on MLB trade rumors, and they said that they were getting really close.
Yeah.
The Mets bowed out because the Marlins got too high as far as the amount of money goes, and they bowed out. They said they couldn't pay it. And, a little more than 30 or 40 minutes later, all of a sudden, it's official. The rumors started spreading all around, and, Jose Reyes is a Marlin. I mean, you can't no longer say that the Marlins were just doing this to sell tickets.
Right.
They put their money where their mouth is. They got themselves the best closer in the game right now. They got themselves one of the fastest guys in the world as far as baseball goes. And, it's just the whole team's just shaping up. What do you think about Jose Reyes? I mean, this guy, you have the injuries and stuff, but,
seriously,
the risk and reward.
Just the leadership. I mean, it's like you said, a bunch of injuries, so it's a high risk, but you also have a high reward if this guy is healthy. And when he was with the Mets, you almost couldn't stand him. He's always smiling, cockiness, always having fun.
Kind of reminded me of Bonifacio.
Exactly, but at the same time, I enjoyed watching him play. And it was just one of those things where now we can really enjoy watching him play because now he's going to play for us. And not only that, but I think it's really going to help Hanley. Mainly because they're friends. They go way back from the Dominican. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things where I see Hanley being a little more comfortable now that he's got his friend here. And I see a more relaxed Hanley. I see a more relaxed ball club in general. Reyes is the type of guy that, to me, he gets along with everybody. And you start to see where Hanley may not have gotten along with Lobo here or whoever else, but I think you're going to start to see Hanley kind of break down and be more of the leader, I guess, that we were expecting out of. Even though he may not be necessarily the leader type, I could see him kind of changing his ways, especially when he's got his good friend here. So
yeah, and I think it all stems from Ozzie Guillen. Ozzie Guillen is the bread and butter. He's putting this team together, and I feel like this is the team that he wanted in Chicago.
Yeah.
He never got it in Chicago, but this is the team he wanted. And you can see his hand in all these moves just because this is what he's always wanted. I mean, he's going to be able to communicate to Hanley and to Reyes like nobody's ever been able to do in this game, because when Reyes was up in New York,
right,
he didn't have a Latin manager that he could relate
no.
to. Now you're going to bring all this together, and I mean, I'm just really excited to see. Rafi, what do you think about the fact with Reyes' history of injuries up in New York?
Well, it worries me a little. I mean, I would lie to you if I said I wasn't worried. It's hamstring issues from the past and things like that, and so in terms of injury wise, you just hope that he can stay healthy. I heard that they're planning on hopefully maybe playing Jose Reyes 4 or 5 times a week.
Well, that was a rumor. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I mean, if he's a $100 million guy, the most any Marlin has ever gotten paid, you're probably going to play majority of the 162, probably 150 games.
No, of course. I'm just saying maybe it depends how they want to play it. If we're well in contention by September, you may want to sit him down a little bit, things like that. But it all comes down to strength and conditioning, and I think if we have our good strength and conditioning core down here, I think he'll do well. But obviously the injuries always are in the back of your mind, right? I mean, that's something that you can do your best to avoid, but if it happens, it happens, and you just have to
Well,
go
I
from there.
guess what people have been talking a lot about is the fact that he played in New York and all the weather and the cold, and the airplanes and all this other stuff. And down here, he's going to play in the same temperature every single night. He's not going to be worried about 40-degree weather and snow and all kinds of other stuff. He's going to be able to stretch out his legs really well, and I think he'll be fine. I actually think that all these injuries, they kind of take a side note. That was the past, and I think he'll be fine down here. I don't think he'll be injured as much.